So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here, and I'm just honored to be part of the launch of this really important series. And female entrepreneurship is a topic that's dear to my heart. So I'm just thrilled to be part of this first series. So how many of you were marched on Saturday? That's what I want to know. Awesome. I was like, who's going to wear their pink hat? I almost wore mine, but I left it at home. So I brought my two young sons, and I just was so inspired to see the crowds. And my favorite thing about going to protests is reading everyone's signs, right? Isn't that the best part? People's creative, inner voice comes out, and they write it down on their sign. And I have to say that one of my favorite signs read, he asked me what my favorite position was, and I said CEO. So I was like, right on. So I think that's going to be my sign for the next time I go to a protest. So I have 10 minutes to tell you about myself, my launch story and scaling my business, and then advice for the founders in the room, and also our community and how we can support more female founders. So wish me luck. It's a big topic. So as Sam said, I'm a native Vermonter. I grew up in northern Vermont, in Bakersfield. My parents are hippies, if you could tell by my name. And I grew up in a geodesic dome house that was off the grid with composting toilets and no shower or bathtub. And my mom's an astrologer, and my dad is a carpenter and a juggler and a street performer. So for those of you that have been around in Burlington for 25 or 30 years, you might have seen us out on Church Street or Main Street, which is usually where we would perform. He had, long hair and a big beard, and goes by the name Orbit the Juggler. And so I was his little sidekick, and I would hold the hat and walk around after the show and ask for money. So, I think as, preparing for this talk, I realized that was probably my first experience with entrepreneurship, actually, and it was definitely a formative one. So I started Urban Moonshine, I need to update the website, 8 years ago, off of my kitchen counter. So we've launched it in that time into a national brand, and it's been an incredible experience to just really feel passionate about something and excited about something and test the waters and really build something that I'm proud of. So I employ 15 people, including myself, 14 women and 1 man, and we're actually just down at the bottom of Battery Street, so we're really close by here. And it's been really cool to, I didn't have any previous business experience other than the street performing, and just to really, surround myself by good people, and really, bring and build my passion into the world. So I love herbal medicine, and my mission is really to bring back the traditional use of herbal remedies and home remedies, and as Sam said, really, bring herbal medicine out of the counter, or out of the cupboard and onto the counter, make it an everyday use thing, and really take down the barriers and the concerns that people have about using herbs. So it's gone from, my kitchen counter to the Shelburne Farmers Market, now to a multi-million-dollar business. So really thrilled to have that experience. So in terms of, I, kind of thought about this talk for a long time and sort of have 2 pieces of advice for people that are thinking about founding businesses. And they're sort of, they go well together. And one is, if you are thinking about starting a business, or if you're mulling over an idea that you might have, it's really good to just try to find something that you really, really love, that really makes you tick, that really lights your fire, and that you're just passionate about. And you talk about it, and you get so excited, and you get the people next to you really excited, because it's that passion that really will fuel your business day after day after day. So I really feel like I had limited skills, but I had loads of passion, and that's what really pushed me into being successful. I love bitters, and that was what I was passionate about. And people hate bitters. People don't like the flavor of bitterness. And I turned that passion and love into a successful business. So it really does go a long way. So I think it's good for you to think about your idea, mull it over, really imagine it being a wild success. So just think of the most positive. What's the best case scenario? It's like people are, throwing money at you, wanting to invest. You're on Shark Tank all of a sudden. You're the cover of Inc. magazine, and everything is just absolutely fantastic, and you drive off into the sunset. So it's good to explore that and envision that. But at the same time, we know that it doesn't, usually go like that, and that there's a lot of challenges along the way. So it's also really important to think about what your worst day is going to be like, and your worst week, and your worst month, and someone quits, and then you run out of money, and then things go out of stock, and then the FDA knocks on your door, and, and you're like, and it couldn't get worse, and then it gets worse, and if you can go through that, thinking about that, obviously you can't imagine all those things, but you think about that and you're like, I think I still want to do it. Then that's when you know that you have a good idea. So the other piece of advice that I want to express is for people that are looking to scale their business, or they're generally, nervous, or they, deal with a lot of, anxiety or fear when they think about launching a business. And that's that we need to reframe the way we think about fear and anxiety and challenge, and that they're actually really important. And that when you're out of your comfort zone and when things are getting difficult, that's when you're growing. That's when you're getting somewhere. That's when there's actually value in the situation. So whenever I find myself a little bit out of my comfort zone, I'm like, here I am again. I'm like, but actually that's the good part. And I know I'll get to go home tonight and I've bombed this talk. It's fine. I know I'm not, but I can at least go home and I can try again next time. So I think that reframing our attitude about fear and anxiety. So, I've had to deal with a lot of anxiety and challenge with my business, and I've kind of renamed those negative feelings to just deeply feeling. I'm deeply feeling right now, and taking out the negative connotations. And I think it really changes the way that we think about it, and you're able to kind of lean in to the experience a little bit more and push through, and you kind of amaze yourself at how much farther you can go down the road. So I also, one other thing I think about is that, crisis is really important, I think, and that it's sort of like testing the safety equipment, and you can't, you don't want to go out on like the biggest boat ever, and it was so great, and you spent so much money on the boat, and then you're out and you hit an iceberg, and you're like, my God, we don't have enough life jackets. It's better to be in a small canoe and hit a log in the road, or hit a log in the river and go, okay, we can swim to shore. So I think that it's important that you can use challenge and crisis as an opportunity to really kind of to check your safety equipment. And so I have life jackets and paddles sitting around at my office, and I remind people sometimes it gets hard and we have to, use these devices, but, we usually get through. So I also think about, what's my memoir going to be like? And, I love to read memoirs, business books, and all the good ones are like, then we went out of business, and then we started again, and then we went bankrupt, and then I got divorced, and then someone died, and you're like, oh my, it's like you're, just like, turning the pages. And I just feel like that's, I always think about what's my memoir, going to be like. Sometimes I feel bad for my children because they're having such a normal, childhood, we go on family vacations, and, it's just so normal. So kind of appreciate those wild moments as a good opportunity, and to seize them and lean into them and dig deeper. So my last thought in terms of sort of how we can support more entrepreneurs, more female entrepreneurs, is that I have a few things. Which is, one, mentorship obviously is really, really important. So my mentors, I have really important mentors around me that I've sought out and ask advice from, and I listen to their advice so they keep me around. And so it's really important to reach out to mentors and have people that can guide you through tough situations. Obviously funding, big problem. And I think that women getting funded, I mean, it's terrible in terms of the numbers. I just read something in Inc. magazine last month that women start businesses at twice the rate of men, but they get dramatically less funding. So the statistic was that there was 11.2 billion in early stage funding, and I'm not sure what the time frame was, whether it was a year or longer, and 9.4 billion went to men and 1.7 went to women. That was in a magazine last month that focuses on entrepreneurship. So we obviously need to go beyond, we need to really think about our biases and really try to, as investors, try to maybe risk a little bit more, push a little bit further to invest in a woman, because we really need to get to the bottom of that. And the last thing I would say is I also would like to reframe our conversation when we talk to entrepreneurs about exit strategy. Because for me, I loved, what I do so much, and I would always stall out in a conversation with an investor because they go, "What's your exit strategy?" And I was like, wait a minute, I wasn't, that wasn't on my agenda. And it was oftentimes a real conversation stopper. And I know that exit strategy is really important, but our economy is strong, but it's not working for a lot of people. And there's, we have a big issue in this country in terms of wealth equality. And I think that if we talk about investment and entrepreneurs, and exit strategy is like the golden standard. Who are you going to exit to so you can make triple the amount of money and sell out to the highest bidder? I mean, sure, that has value. But why don't we say, how many jobs do you think you could create in Vermont in the next 5 years? That would be a really, that's a powerful statement. So try asking that next time. How many jobs do you think you can make? Not who are you going to exit to and how much money am I going to make? So I want to change, that the dynamic of thinking about that, because if the communities, if the business owners live in their communities and they employ people in their communities, they're going to care about their communities more than if you sell your business, to maybe a very caring and loving parent company, but they're probably not going to be based in Burlington, Vermont. So how can we kind of change that dynamic and think about investing and putting roots down and creating a healthier economy, in the other direction of not just kind of selling out, but going deeper locally. So thank you so much. I look forward to continuing the conversation.